If you are interested in becoming a clinical educator or a clinical skills tutor in a medical school just like me, then now is the time for you to watch this video. Hey UKRNs, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be answering all of your questions and I will be giving you more detailed information regarding my job as a clinical skills tutor in a medical school. If you are new to my channel, do check out my other nursing and very useful informative videos, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. If you are in a hurry, you can check out the video description and click the timestamp of the specific topics you want to know about. Let's begin with the first question from Apple the Apple. So Apple commented, "Hello, I have always wanted to be a clinical instructor. How did you come to that kind of work, sir? I really appreciate what you do." Thank you so much, Apple, for leaving that question and for your appreciation. It really means a lot to me. So my previous role was a practice development nurse. So I was already doing teaching and assessment on newly qualified nurses in the ward. But that was a secondment position. So when you say secondment, that means it is a temporary position. Mine was a 6-month secondment. So after 6 months, I would have to go back to my previous job as charge nurse in the medical assessment unit. For me, however, I had already resigned from the medical assessment unit before I applied for the PDN role. That means I wouldn't be able to go back to my previous job. So 3 months before the end of my secondment, I was already looking for another nursing job that involved teaching. So before last year, I did not know that this kind of job existed for nurses. Because when I think of medical school, teaching the medical students, I thought that it would purely be doctors teaching the medical students. So apparently it is not. I found out about the job through a group email sent to all practice development nurses in our hospital. So immediately I read the job description, the person specification, and matched my qualifications with that. And I saw that yes, I do meet the requirements and the qualifications of this job, and so I went for it. I kind of felt like it was meant to happen because I was meant to finish in July 2021. Then my matron managed to find a budget to extend me for 2 months. And the start date of the new job, which is the first week of the academic year, was the week after my last day as a PDN. It was like all the puzzle pieces were fitting together, and yeah, I got the job. So next question is from 2 people. The first one is Miss Glay Contreras and the second one is from Diane Rose Martinez. So both are asking for the qualifications of this job. Thank you, Glay and Diane Rose. So I'm gonna answer your question in 2 parts. So the first part are the qualification, knowledge, and experience requirements. And the second half will be the skills and abilities. So the first qualification is that you must be a registered nurse and you must have been educated to a degree level. For all internationally educated nurses, you've already met this criteria. The third qualification is a teaching qualification, a postgraduate certificate in education or equivalent. But this is a desirable criteria and not an essential criteria. So for me, I don't have a postgraduate certificate in education yet, but I do have units for mentorship and for assessment of acutely unwell patients from 2 different universities whilst I was working as a charge nurse in the medical assessment unit. So in a way, I've partially met that criteria, and hopefully soon I will be working my way towards that postgraduate certificate in education. So next criteria is good knowledge of clinical procedures and sound nursing clinical knowledge. Since I came to the UK, I've been working in the medical assessment unit and I stayed there for almost 7 years. As you know by now, any trainings that you've had in your own country is not acknowledged and you have to redo all of the clinical skills training here in the UK. So during my 7 years in the medical assessment unit, I had all the trainings that I could get in terms of clinical skills. And I was also very proactive in signing up for any course that was available to the nurses in our ward. So my advice to you guys is to get all the skills training that you can get from your ward. Not just mandatory, do all of your bloods, blood culture, catheterization, ECG training, all of it, everything that you can get. And make sure you have a list of these trainings and the specific dates that you've had them. This will be very useful when you apply for roles like clinical education or skills tutor. You need to be proactive and tell your manager if there are any university courses that is in the budget for our ward. I am happy to volunteer and go for that course. Next criteria is extensive experience of working in an acute healthcare environment. So that's a sure tick for me because I was in the medical assessment unit. That's one of the most acute areas in the hospital besides A&E. In the medical assessment unit, you meet all kinds of patients, you have to do all types of procedures, meet a lot of different specialty doctors, a lot of different teams, so it's a very good training ground. And the last two criteria are experience of teaching in a clinical or a non-clinical setting and experience of remote teaching. So for this criteria, this was automatically met with my previous role. So most of the time, I would be in the clinical area doing teaching and assessment on the newly qualified nurses. And on other times, I would also be doing classroom teaching for skills like blood ketones, blood glucose, and also doing a full day study day for internationally educated nurses. With remote teaching, I don't have much experience with that, but I told them during the interview that I'm quite techy, I'm very good with different programs and applications, and if there was any new application that needs to be used for the school, then I can easily learn and adapt to that as well. Okay, for the second half, just a quick run through of the skills and abilities that they are looking for. So you need a flexible attitude to work, including the ability to take up new tasks when required without supervision, excellent organizational skills, verbal and written communication skills, ability to work collaboratively in a multidisciplinary team. You should be competent at using Microsoft Office and basic computer literacy, and you must be reliable and punctual. So next question is from Berto Sprinkel, who asked, who are the students? So as a clinical skills tutor in a medical school, my students are the medical students. And specifically, I teach medical students from their first year up until their 6th year. So we teach a lot of different topics and clinical skills, and they usually start from the simple ones in year 1 all the way to the most complicated stuff in year 6. So we teach every year level of medical students. So next question is from Daziel May. So she's asking, do you have to be a band 6 or a band 7 in order to qualify? So we went through our qualification requirements. It doesn't specifically say that you need to be a band 6 or a band 7. But it does follow that if you are a band 6 or a band 7, you will meet the criteria or qualifications because you would have done some form of clinical teaching to nursing students, to newly qualified nurses, or even to your junior nurses who've been there for years. So being a band 6 or a band 7 does increase your chance of qualifying for the job and getting the actual job. So next question is from a private message. So what is the salary? So I'm not very comfortable with divulging the exact figures because this job is technically not in the NHS but in a private institution. There is no banding. But if you compare it to NHS banding, it will differ per medical school, but it can either be paid as a band 6, band 7, and in bigger medical schools, you can be paid as a band 8 equivalent. To be honest with you guys, I was actually getting a few £100 more as a PDN, that was a band 7 role, compared to what I am getting now. But because I love the job and I'm happy with my role, then I just have to find ways to sort of balance or augment my income. So those are the questions that you've asked me. So hopefully I've answered them sufficiently. If you are really keen to have this kind of job in the future, my advice for you are the following. Number 1, get all the clinical trainings that you can get from your current ward. Number 2, make a list of all those trainings that you've had including the date you had them, and if certificates are provided, then keep them, and also make a list of all the equipment that you are now competent to use. Number 3, make it known to your manager that you are very much willing to attend or join any university course. The budget for education per ward is limited. So it might be that your ward can only send 2 people for university course. So make sure you let your manager know that you are very interested and you are willing to do the hard work on top of your regular duties. Number 4, keep an eye for any leadership course within your own trust. They are very useful not just for this kind of job but for any future job. You can use it to prove that you've had your training and demonstrate initiative and your leadership abilities. And 5th, do not be afraid to step up if there is any band 6 or charge nurse or ward sister role that's available. Take it. This can open doors for you in terms of training, learning more about the system and the NHS, so you become more knowledgeable, you widen your experience, you get to meet new people that you can make connections with, and with this you are building your employment profile so you can apply for bigger and better jobs in the future. And that's it for today's video. I hope this was helpful for you. If you liked it, then please help me out by clicking the like button and share this to all of your nursing friends who are interested in becoming a clinical educator or clinical skills tutor. I wish you all the best in all your future plans, and I do hope that you get that clinical teaching role that you want, and I wish you all the success that you deserve. Thank you once again, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! If you are still watching at this point, I want you to know that there are more than 40 medical schools in the whole of the UK. Look them up and look at the job vacancies. You may be able to apply for a clinical skills tutor role this month. So go on, go, 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 go.